Welcome back. Testing, just testing.
Right. See you guys later.
Watch you.
Bye.
Matter of fact, I have to say this. You look so much younger in person.
Do I? I look younger than person?
It looks like you got some sun too.
I'm in my upper 40s. That's how old I am.
Well, I'm in my upper 70s, so.
God bless you. I wish I could live that long.
You know what? I thank God every day because I
keep up the Red Bull. Keep up the Red Bull.
I have two great granddaughters that I'm watching grow up. I've watched my grandkids grow up, and they're in their 34 down to 25. So
let's go, Mom.
You guys be safe.
For the sheriff comes.
Yeah, before the sheriff comes. The storm's going away. Bye. Bye. They're out. They're leaving. Mom and daughter. Mom and daughter. Looks like the rain has stopped, so it's not going to stop us. Very sweet. Very sweet. Thank you. Nice people. It looks like let me just look at the radar and I'm going to plant the camera back. We're not done. We'll continue the conversation. Because this is kind of like our spot. We actually got some relief. Let me put this back up. Looks like the thunder's over. Thunder. Thunder. Lightning and the thunder. Thunder. Rains and pool. Rains and pours. I spilled coffee. Rains and pours. All right. Rain, go away. It's going up in the mountains. Birds. Lightning and the thunder. Should be back here shortly. Dun, 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 dun. Rain is ending. Dun, 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 dun. But ABC likes the plug. He sings our song. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, where they at? Where they at? Where's everybody at? It got quiet. The rain done turned the front of Miss Guthrie's house into back into normal. Normal neighborhood. My apologies for the feedback. Every now and then I forget to turn stuff off so I can come back on the mic and yeah, I know. This was just a test. I wanted to see something. And I done seen what I needed to see. So therefore, I'll let it rock for a little bit, see if anything pops off, but I doubt it.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Yes, we're back. Back. I see a lot of people still here. We're back. Hello. It got significantly colder out here. Tucson, Arizona. Oh. Okay. Yeah. Hello. Hello, everyone. We're still here. I'll show you the neighborhood since it's a little bit cooler. Show you what's going on. Cooler out here. For sure. Everyone left except me and Dad's going live. Everyone bounced. Where'd everyone go? Abandoned tent. News Nation. I literally spilled coffee all over me, rushing into my vehicle. Look at this. Uh-oh. 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 SpaghettiOs.
Oh, hell no, Taylor. You don't spill coffee on yourself.
Oh my God, it feels so much better out here right now, though. All right, so I got to show the driveway here after a rainstorm and kind of see what's going on. Hopefully we get the reception good. This is the driveway after it rains. Simple life. Simply safe. Yeah, perp, you can call JLR if you want. Put some OxyClean on it. It'll work. Is food still there? Yeah, we got our food here. Some. Do you see a rainbow? No. I don't see a rainbow. Well, the sky's pretty. It's a pretty sky right there. Actually, I want to take a picture of that. The sky. Yeah, it smells good. Some of this cacti got some water and rain on them, so they can live longer. Much. Look at that thing. That is crazy. Imagine getting pricked by one of them. Touch it. All right, I'm touching it. Ready? Ready? Hold on. Ow. Ow. Look. Dude, it looks like a fish. Ow. These things are prickly. That's pretty cool. Look like a face of a fish. Oh, the sun's back out. Dude, now it feels warm again. Back to the heat. And I hear the thunder over there. More thunder. Hear it? Uh-oh. We might be round 2. Look. Looks like... Yeah, it looks like the storms are coming back. I can hear it. Maybe the Starlink starts going away. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
What's your
We
name?
were so worried that the rain was not going to let us come. We came all the way from
Oh.
the kind of the Rincon Mountains out in that
Oh, yeah,
side
Rincon.
of Tucson.
Yeah.
Because I was listening to you talk to that lady earlier that was, visiting and a Christian.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I thought, I'm going to give this to JLR.
What
so
do you
that
got? Can I show?
This is God's promises for all your needs.
Oh my goodness.
And so there's
Thank
a
you
lot
so
of
much.
scriptures. And this one is the one I want to claim
Oh my goodness.
for Nancy. For I am persuaded that neither death nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, which is like evil, nor powers, nor things present or things to come, nor what is I can't read it
Nor
upside
height
down.
nor depth.
Yes, you can read
Nor any other created. Yeah.
it. Created.
Thing shall be able to separate us from the love of God, which is in Jesus Christ our Lord.
Yeah.
Romans 8:33-39.
Yeah. So I just feel that is a good
Oh,
scripture
that's so sweet.
for her, and lots of promises.
Thank you so
in
much.
there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
God
you.
bless
Thank you.
you.
God bless you too.
And protect you whenever you're out there doing this kind of stuff, and
God's promises.
yeah. And there's different promises for different situations in our life. Scriptures from the Bible.
Pray for everyone to find Nancy and
Yeah, my heart
separate us
goes
from
out
the
to
evil.
her. My mom passed away when she was 83. And needed a
83.
lot of attention, so I just can't imagine
What was your mom's name?
for somebody to just take a person at that age.
What was your mom's name?
Her name was Priscilla, and she was originally from Albuquerque.
What's your name?
I'm Cynthia,
Hi, Cynthia.
and lived here already like 20 years. So it is a rough desert.
Yeah.
It's taken me a while to get used to. I'm used to another type of desert, which has its different challenges.
God's promises.
But this is a very different terrain.
It is.
It's rough. It's a rough terrain. It's a rough city to live in.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
You're from here.
20 years now.
What do you think happened to Nancy?
I think it's somebody who has something to benefit from her. I don't think it's a random thing, because this community, this neighborhood it's like trying to walk in a spider web. I mean, there's just like so many streets. Like, who could just
I know, right?
stumble in here, right? So she was very much targeted, I think.
She was targeted?
By either somebody who knows the family or somebody who worked for the family.
A lot of people feel that way.
Yeah, I felt that way from the very beginning, and who's to say that when she was in the house that no one else went in there with her, right? Who's to say who walked in there with her?
Yeah.
Or if when the garage opened and closed, who's to say that she was with whoever dropped her off? I mean, we really don't know. There's no cameras. And that generated one that where the guy's standing far away, didn't Patel say that was computer enhanced? That's why it looks different than when he was walking in the little opening there. I'm pretty sure I heard Cash Patel say that was computer enhanced or digitally enhanced, something like that. So it may not look. And I think somebody let him in from inside.
You do?
Yeah. Because if there's no sign of, a bar opening the door, unless the door was unlocked, which I don't know why it would be. It's just hard to tell. We don't know, right?
We don't know. It's a mystery. It really is.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Well, I've been listening to you almost every day since you got here.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
this has really been on my heart, and I appreciate it. I have kids your age, pretty much, and I just think it's neat that that's a calling that you have in your life, right? Yeah, to help people.
Look, it looks like it's gonna rain again.
Oh, we took a picture when we came down Skyline.
You came from
And
Skyline?
yeah, and so the clouds were just really puffy and dark, but there was this bright light coming through the middle of the clouds, shining down.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, I got chilled now, just thinking, God knows everything, God sees everything, and whoever did this, whether it's on this life or the life after, they're going to pay for it.
They're gonna pay for it.
Right. And
I agree with you. But
And,
how are they gonna pay for it?
well, anybody that hurts a child, Jesus said that it's better that an anchor be tangled around your neck and you be dropped to the middle of the deepest ocean, right? So
Did you just hear a gun?
I just heard a gun.
I just heard it. You
It's
think
not
they're shooting
firecracker
guns?
time, because usually around New Year's
Heard something too.
around
Sound like either a gun or some wood dropping or something.
Oh, really?
I heard a bang.
like not that time of year,
Yeah.
but
I heard
yeah.
like pop, pop, pop. I heard one pop.
Yeah. But so those promises are good. So whenever you need them, you need to God could talk to you through that. Yeah, I follow you on Facebook actually, and then of course YouTube.
Facebook?
Facebook. Yeah, you have a Facebook thing, right?
No, that's not my page.
That's not your
Somebody
page?
else is using my page. Yeah, a lot of people is like Facebook. No. It's not.
Really?
Yeah, it's not
So
my
I've been
page.
posting stuff on Facebook, or like
That's somebody
comments.
impersonating me using a
Oh.
Facebook page in my name.
Isn't
No, I'm not on
that's
Facebook.
Terrible. They shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I know. They're impersonating, right?
Yeah.
Should we get rid of them?
Get rid of them.
Report them on Facebook? Impersonation?
Yes.
Copyright?
Copyright.
Infringement?
Your name is a copyright, right?
Oh, no. It's not, actually.
So
It's easy to do, though.
okay, now seeing it in person looks very different. Than, you can see more of a depth perception versus when I see your films. So
Yeah.
somebody-
So
somebody
your
could
take is
drive-
seeing this home. You're seeing this home here, and here for the first. It looks different in person.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You could
That's what I'm
see-
saying. You have to be here in person to see the difference.
Yeah, you could see where somebody could drive behind the saguaros over there, the bunch of them, and go into the garage and kind of be a little hidden. Wow. Well, it's a shame. We'll just keep saying our prayers that God reveals who it is, and have her like Savannah and the family want, for her to come home, and they're willing to accept her anyway.
This is not my page.
Really?
Yeah, they literally have. I've just found this. This is not my page. This is not my page.
Yeah, that's where
there's a
I've-
page with a
I've,
cover photo
made
with
some
me and the
comments.
Gonzalez family. This isn't my. I don't know if there's this page, but this is not my page.
Wow.
I don't know who did that.
Yeah.
Somebody's stealing.
So
Somebody's stealing
I
pictures
wonder,
from me.
because normally younger people don't go on Facebook. It's mostly older people. But I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
I'm looking for. Somebody said there's one with like 30,000 followers. It's weird. Maybe they got me blocked. I can't find that one. Let me see. Do you got your Facebook on you? Let me find. Yeah, show me the page. Somebody probably blocked me, and then has a page. This page is not mine. Somebody stole a picture of me and then just put it up there. It's not me. Not my page. See what I'm saying? They take screenshots from when I post things. Yeah, report them. I'll send the army to report them. Hey Army, see all those JLR Investigates Facebook pages? Report them. I'll send. Watch, they'll probably get mass reported right now for about 1,000 people. Report it. Take them all down.
Let me see where it is. Sometimes, you know, all this gets...
Any JLR Investigates page on Facebook, take it down. It's not me.
Okay, let me see if I can find it. I made... Yeah, this is...
It's like a trash bag.
Is that the page?
That they
Yeah,
got.
yeah, post that. Let me see. Holy smokes. This is, can I share this?
Yeah.
This is not me.
Investigate another case.
Yeah, you're helping me investigate another case. Holy smokes, folks. This is not me. 46,000 people? And they're still posting things. Look.
Paid off for you. Wow, and it's up to date stuff too.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. This is not me.
They're monetized, getting paid off for your name.
Look, this is
Wow.
my mic earlier.
That's
Someone
wild.
impersonating me and making money off me.
That's wild.
There you go, Army. Do what you got to do. Screenshot that. Go. Mass report it. Take it down. You can't claim you're somebody else.
Yeah, there's your picture and everything. I thought that was you.
Dude, all they do is just post videos. And there's thousands and thousands of likes on these videos.
Yep.
That's crazy. Thank you.
Oh, well, you're welcome.
They got me blocked.
I hope it. I hope you could get that resolved. Well, two purposes.
That's crazy. Yeah, well,
So
they're in trouble now.
Get that.
They're in trouble now. They're probably going to have to.
Yeah, get that.
Yeah, look at this.
Stopped and.
They're in trouble now.
Yeah.
My army doesn't play.
Well.
They're in trouble.
That's
Whoever runs that
crazy.
page is in
Lots
trouble.
yeah, lots of comments. And I made a comment here
I mean,
somewhere
people
for
have been, but I don't.
Report that page if y'all on here and y'all see that.
Let's see who.
Here's another
That
one.
that ain't right.
There's another one.
Well, they
Another
got
one.
multiple pages under his name.
33,000. Where are these pages coming from?
Monetized.
Yep.
Wow.
They're literally posting me here. There's another one.
See
There's
that?
another
That ain't right. That isn't
They're
right.
cloning me. They got tens of thousands of. They don't think it's me.
I thought it was
Wow.
because I was even giving you a
That's
tip. Like,
deep.
Crazy. Oh, I'm
I
gonna
gave
contact
you, I
them.
gave you a couple of tips
It's on.
to hear what I thought were tips. Like, okay, well then, like, who's to say that she ever, got home?
Who's running
you know?
these pages?
That they got.
Isn't that crazy?
There's two of them.
They're all there.
146,000.
Even this one, when you were, I was watching YouTube and you were talking about that. This is all. I did not know that. I thought this was you.
No. Well, the real JLR, please stand up. That's crazy. Taking care of it. I'll look into it later.
Okay. Well, God
Thank
bless you.
No, thank
You be safe.
thank you. Thank you for the support, and
Okay.
I
hopefully-
appreciate it. And thank you for the God's Promises book.
Good.
Starting to rain again.
Yeah. You be safe
Bless
in
you.
whatever you do, and pray that
Okay.
he's found or comes home soon.
Safe.
and whoever did it, they be punished to the highest degree.
To the full extent of the law.
Yes, exactly. You take care.
You too. Thank you. Thanks for coming out. That's crazy, folks. Yeah, we'll see if we can get rid of those pages. You can't just say you're me. I found a third one. Sis Robin Ray says. There's 3 of them. Let's take them all down. Hear the rain? Look at that sound. Look at that clap.
Got something else to share, and then I'm getting up out of here.
Just a little slow rain right now. A nice cool rain. Sitting out here in the rain and the coolness. It's cool out here. It's refreshing. We're at 438.
You walk outside, there are license plate readers. I'm Vinnie Politan. The subject of my investigation is the abduction of Nancy Guthrie, a case that has drawn the attention of the nation and the FBI, but still more than a month later has 0 answers. Here's the story. The case had already gripped the nation when another development surfaced. Ransom letters referencing specific personal details. Nancy Guthrie vanished from her Tucson home overnight. Authorities believe she was taken against her will, and blood confirmed to be hers was found outside. Surveillance video recovered by Google shows a masked individual at the residence during the night. Now investigators are back in the neighborhood looking for evidence. The FBI is involved, and for Nancy's family, the waiting continues. Think about this. It's 2026. There are cameras everywhere. Well, I've got cameras in the studio, obviously, but there are cameras everywhere. When you walk outside, there are license plate readers, there are traffic cameras, there are surveillance cameras at convenience stores, at gas stations, at strip malls, and on almost everyone's home and everyone's front doorbell. Cameras everywhere. But here we are, struggling to find an image. Well, we've got an image of a suspect. He's wearing a mask. We got some images of them. We've got nothing, no vehicle. Like, you're removing Nancy from her home. You're not like carrying her. You're putting her into her vehicle. Let's bring in Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas. Cody, now we're learning that there seems like some of the neighbors right there in the Catalina foothills had some issues with their surveillance cameras.
Yeah, Vinny, they're talking about all these various different kinds of issues with their home surveillance cameras, those cameras like Ring doorbell cameras or Nest cameras or any other cameras that they have on their property. And specifically, they're talking about issues the night that Nancy went missing and in the days that followed. Now, of course, I spent time out there in Tucson talking to all kinds of different people, including neighbors. Here's what one of them told me about her own cameras. Take a listen.
I had police officers knock on my door about 9 o'clock a couple nights ago and ring my doorbell, and of course that scared me. It was dark and like what, and of course they were canvassing the neighborhood to see if people had any cameras outside, ring cameras, thing like that could help. My camera had been down, and ADT was actually at my house Monday, and my camera was not up and running until about 5 o'clock Monday afternoon.
All right, Vinny, so now this is where it's about to get a little interesting. News Nation's Brian Inton posted this on X. He's still out there. He says, quote, "The FBI is looking into a possible internet outage during the time Nancy Guthrie went missing. One neighbor tells me his Ring camera history is mysteriously not available the night Nancy disappeared." Now, Inton also posted pictures of 2 Ring cameras and said this as well. He said, "These are the neighbor's Ring cameras that stopped working around the time Nancy Guthrie was abducted. Also, in the same time frame, their dog woke them up to go outside, which they say is very unusual." And continuing on this, Vinny, this is also from NBCnews.com. They say, quote, "Investigators hunting for leads in the search for Nancy Guthrie have asked people living in her neighborhood whether they noticed any disruptions to their internet connections on the night of her disappearance. Several different homeowners from the neighborhood told NBC News that the agents who came by their homes Thursday specifically asked them if they had noticed any disruptions or issues with their internet service the night that Guthrie went missing. According to those homeowners, the agents told them that several people who live in the area had mentioned that there were glitches with their internet that night." And Vinny, you know, I'm reading all this, and that leaves open the question to me, is this suspect, or suspects plural, are they really that advanced?
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Thanks, Cody. He's going to stick around all hour. That brings us to the first question in our investigation about these issues. Are the surveillance camera issues a coincidence? You know, generally, I don't believe in coincidences when it comes to, you know, criminal investigations, murder investigations, abductions, etc. Let's see what our guests have to say. Joining me, host of the Pascal Show, Pascal.
Entertainment.
And former homicide detective, host of The Interview Room with Chris McDonough.
Purposes
Chris
only.
McDonough is with us. All right, Pascal, what do you
This
think?
is not
Is
monetized.
this a coincidence, or all of a sudden,
am
you
using
know,
this
is your
content
interest peaked here?
Under the fair
Oh, my
use
interests are definitely peaked. There's just no
law.
way. There's no way that
The
this just happens to be a coincidence
Copyright
that
Act
all technologies just
17
happen to shut off at the right
USC
time, at the wrong time, if you really think about it,
107.
when Nancy Guthrie was
you.
allegedly taken.
Thank you very
It
much.
just doesn't make any sense to me. Now, it could be this Wi-Fi jammer that people are speculating that maybe this assailant had on him. But then in my mind, I'm like, then you must have had a really expensive Wi-Fi jammer to be able to have something to go and reach out as far out as some of her neighbors. It would have to have a span, it would have to have a big reach to be able to knock out all these cameras simultaneously.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think it's a coincidence, Vinny.
Yeah, I don't know if these devices, which I never heard of before this moment, right? Before all this happened today, is available at Walmart. Chris McDonough, what are your thoughts here? Is it a coincidence, or is there some technology that is going to take down the cameras in Nancy's neighborhood? But at the end of the day, her camera seemed to record something.
Yeah, and I think Pascal makes a really great point. I mean, what is the range of, a Wi-Fi jammer, and what type of advancements would you need within that technology to spread it out so far? So that's a really good observation. How far was that other house from Nancy's? And then again, like you're talking, Vinny, the fact that her camera is still operating. Now, mind you, that could have been also on a battery inside of that Nest camera. So it would have kept rolling even if he would have taken it off. But the fact that the authorities are treating these disruptions as potentially deliberate certainly does cause one to say, okay, is this a potential? And I would say, yeah, it could be a potential.
Pascal, I want to pick up on what Cody said, right? Because all along we've been looking at the man on the porch and saying, he's like literally digging in the weeds to deal with the camera in the front there. It doesn't strike me as being terribly sophisticated, but if you're jamming internet, maybe to keep images of your vehicle from being captured by cameras, there might be a level of sophistication here that we weren't necessarily considering. At least I wasn't considering. Am I the only one not hearing Pascal? Okay. Do we have him? We'll go to Chris and we'll fix Pascal's microphone. Go ahead, Chris.
So, yeah, no, that's a great question. And it then draws into this conversation about, is there more than one, which you have talked about many times on your show here, Vinny, that, I think a really good analogy, Dr. Gary Bricotto, our friend, gave an analogy of, think of the chef and the waiter. Is this guy the waiter, in front of the house, and then in the kitchen is the chef actually organizing, planning, and doing all the sophistication? I think that's a really good analogy here, potentially, if this is like a conspiracy, to kidnap Miss Guthrie here. Are there more than one individuals? And the type of technology brought to the table here could indicate that.
And to me, that now jumps to the next level of planning and plotting and targeting at the same time, right? And so what are your thoughts here on if, in fact, the people responsible for taking Nancy are responsible for interfering with the technology and the Wi-Fi of other cameras in the neighborhood? Do you think that's focused more on the vehicle than the people? And would there be a reason to jam those cameras and not Nancy's?
That's a great question. And vehicles are always, your primary target, if you can, in any type of crime like this, because she has been removed from the house. And if that's the case, then it's a lot easier to find that car or a car than, of course, the victim at this particular point. And this also then gives us a little more insight into the pre-incident behavior that took place, how much planning these individuals may have put into this, which then draws into the question, what type of surveillance was taking place. If they're sophisticated enough to walk up potentially with, Wi-Fi jammers, you can bet there's a whole bunch of pre-planning taking place.
Yeah, and if you do have a jamming device, whether you purchase it or create it yourself, I know nothing about them. I can't imagine this is a very common item. People, I don't even know if it's legal to do this. I mean, I've never seen one, heard of one. I've heard of other jammers, but it's usually the military or law enforcement or someone else taking those actions.
Yeah, and law enforcement has that type of technology, and it did come from the military, to your point. So the fact that, and you can buy them, believe it or not, on the internet, which just goes to another level of the sophistication of the suspect here.
Yeah, do you feel like this this could be a lead, something that you could follow up on, the fact that they're what they did here to avoid detection potentially could maybe lead to getting them identified?
Yeah, and I think we're seeing indications of that, Vin. Think about how far out they went, right? They went back into January, and they started asking, folks, do you have any video? Do you have any problems with your video, et cetera? So they may be onto something
This
here. We'll see what
content is
happens.
being used under the
Pascal, we've
Fair
got
Use
the microphone hooked
Provision
back up. Great to see you. Okay. So,
U.S.
what I wanna
Copyright
hear,
Act
what Cody was saying,
17
we always look at the man on the
USC
porch as being this
107.
buffoon, but if we are getting now into internet jammers and things like that, this is now a next level
Educational.
kind of operation that's taking place.
And
Well, it shows to me that maybe
entertainment
this is,
purposes
well, one,
only.
first off, like I was trying to say
This
earlier,
channel, it is not
this guy, I still think
monetized
he's
in
an
any
idiot,
way,
but
shape,
I think
form
that idiots still can do,
whatsoever.
make some smart moves because they've done it before. So I'm thinking that maybe this guy has done this type of operation before, these types of breaking and enterings, or these types of abductions in the past, and is able to use, and over time was like, hey, maybe one of these Wi-Fi jammers is the way to go now. And maybe what he got is not one of those kind of $60, $70 type of Wi-Fi jammers where you have to be feet in front of the actual these security cameras. That maybe he was able to get something even stronger because of his experience, or somebody in his team was able to help him obtain something much stronger than he's had before. But the fact that he cased the joint before, and I know that's still not fully confirmed whether it was days, if not hours before, but he still cased the joint. It shows to me that there was some sort of prep, there was some planning, and then of course he did this terrible, terrible thing and executed what he did on that night.
Pascal, host of the Pascal Show, always great to see you. Appreciate it. Say hi to the family for me.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Chris McDonough's going to stick around. Coming up next, do suspects really return to the scene of the crime?
Weeknights on Court TV.
I'm Vinny Politan. Welcome to Closing Arguments. We have a big hour ahead here.
Your deplorable actions are unforgivable.
The community still doesn't know how this Boston police officer died.
He can't prove one element of his case.
It was a dramatic day, a dramatic moment inside the courtroom.
What's happening here?
It's unreal. Let me show you exactly what happened.
Closing Arguments with Vinny
I'm not sure
Weeknights
what else
at
he's
8,
going to
7 Central,
cover.
only on
He
Court
continues to
TV.
speak on Nancy Guthrie, and we'll continue.
We still believe
And
we still
we will
believe
continue.
in a miracle. We still believe that she can come home. Hope against hope. As my sister says, we are blowing on the embers of hope.
There is an absolute investment in this story by the public, but it's more than an investment in the story. It's an investment in the hopes and prayers of an outcome here and their thoughts for Nancy Guthrie and her family. Let's go back to Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas. And now there is some chatter, some controversy surrounding the tribute, like we see in many of the cases that we cover, the tribute that has begun to sort of accumulate in front of Nancy's house.
Yeah, and it's an area, a tribute that is continuing to grow, Vinny. I want you to take a look at some of this video. This is video outside the front of Nancy's house. People have left flowers, drawings, signs. There's even a sign that says it's a note to the kidnapper. Now, of course, this case has drawn a lot of attention, not just from neighbors in the Catalina foothills area, but from people all over the country and, frankly, people all over the world. Now, we know that Savannah and her family themselves have come out to see this tribute, but now there's talk, Vinny, of the kidnapper possibly returning to the scene. Now, this is from FoxNews.com, and this is the headline. It says, Nancy Guthrie's abductor may have returned to the crime scene, left critical clues at tribute, attributing an expert there. Now, it goes on to say, quote, as a growing memorial outside Nancy Guthrie's Tucson area home continues to draw visitors, new questions are emerging about whether investigators are monitoring the site. Yellow flowers, handwritten notes, artwork, and even an open letter addressed to the kidnapper have been left at the makeshift tribute in front of her home. So, Vinny, the kidnapper possibly returning to the scene, that is a whole new layer in this investigation. And if, we don't know what the suspect looks like, that just makes it easier on him if this is true.
Yeah, we always wonder that in a lot of these stories. Thanks so much, Cody. And that brings us to the next question in our investigation. Do suspects really return to the scene of the crime? And with us, former detective Phil Waters, still with me, former homicide detective Chris McDonough. All right, Phil, what are your thoughts on this? Do suspects really return to the scene of the crime?
Well, hey, Vinny, yes, there are some that do. And I think, in my experience, been very few and far between. But there are some that have such an ego, and especially in a case like this where there is no known suspect on the horizon, they may find it is fulfilling for them to return to the scene knowing what they know that nobody else does. And so it's a huge pump for a suspect like this. And then you have the this is a moving around in the open area, and he knows what he knows, and nobody else does. So, like I said, I think that it's very few and far between, but I would not be surprised. And sometimes when they return to the scene, they relive what happened inside the home. So this may be that part. That may be part of it. If he's prone to come back, he may be reliving what he did and, again, further relishing the event.
Hey, Chris McDonough, would you be interested in eyeballing all the folks who are going to that memorial? Well, I don't know if it's a memorial, but the tribute that is in front of Nancy's home?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's, you just think of it as a honeypot, where you set it up and now all the bees start showing up. And it's interesting that they put up surveillance on Nancy's house. ADT recently was out there, remember? And so that's almost like a countermeasure. And so I agree 1,000% with what Phil said. It's very rare, but these individuals may be trying to live the thrill of what's taken place and or monitor the investigation. It wouldn't surprise me, Vinny, even today, that he's watching us right now.
Yeah, that's the creepy part, right? Because, Phil, this is a story that dominated the news. Obviously, it's still dominating our world here at Court TV. The rest of the media is starting to simmer down a little bit. But what are your thoughts there? Do you think the decrease in the coverage and the interest, the general day-to-day interest, will make the suspect do something differently here?
That's an interesting question, Vinny, and a good one. Because we know we're dealing with a narcissistic personality here, right? We're dealing with a sociopath. And for some reason, at least at this point in it, what we do know is that something occurred inside that house, went terribly wrong, and they did what they did. And I think that there is some sense of person or persons that they're there monitoring what's going on just as much as the surveillance equipment is monitoring who is showing up at this particular tribute. So it's kind of a give and take between the detectives and the suspect, and they're both trying to find out. The suspect's trying to find out what the detectives know, and the detectives certainly are trying to get the suspect identified. So it's a real cat and mouse game at this point in time. Sure.
Oh, it has to be. Chris, do you think it's more likely that a suspect is located or Nancy is located?
I think at this juncture, I mean, obviously we want to always remain hopeful, but we're down the road here, almost, going into week 5 here. I think they're going to probably find the suspect who ultimately would lead them to Nancy. I think that will be the sequence of events.
Do you think the answer is in the neighborhood, Phil?
I think part of the answer may be. The problem you have there is Pima County covers 9,000 square miles. There's no telling where they could have put Nancy. And it is going to take, I believe, it's going to take the arrest of the suspect to bring about Nancy's recovery.
How does that happen? I know this is the big question, but Chris, do you think it's going to be a piece of evidence in any form, or do you think it's going to be intel from a person that is going to lead to that suspect? Which do you think is more likely at this stage?
And I think it's going to be a combination, Vinny. I really do. I think some of the technology that is in play here, and it's going to be, just good old, gumshoe police work. Like Phil and I grew up in that age where you just go out and you ring doorbells and you kiss babies and you shake hands and you end up finding the bad guy.
All right. Big thanks to both of our investigators tonight, Phil Waters, Chris McDonough. Thanks, guys. We'll see you again soon. Still to come, is the DNA a dead end? I'm Vinny Politan. We continue our investigation of the abduction of Nancy Guthrie. Why was she taken? Was it for ransom, revenge, or a burglary turned violent? Here's the story. Nancy Guthrie's disappearance is no longer just a local case. It is a national mystery. The 84-year-old Tucson resident was last seen on Saturday, January 31st. By Sunday, she was gone. Investigators declared her home a crime scene, citing evidence that she did not leave voluntarily. Blood identified as hers was located outside. Surveillance footage revealed a masked figure on the property. Security systems were disabled. Then ransom letters surfaced publicly. Yet no suspect has been identified. No confirmed proof of life released. And as the search intensifies, one question hangs in the desert air. What happened inside that home overnight? Evidence has been collected. Obviously, they've gone through that house. They've gone through the property. They're going through the neighborhood again and again, trying to solve all of this. We've got the surveillance video of the suspect on her porch that night at 2 different distinct times. Once with the backpack, once without, but always with the gloves and the mask. I want to bring back in Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas. All right, let's talk about the evidence that we see in so many cases here on Court TV. Where are we in the DNA portion of this investigation?
Well, to keep it brief, Vinny, the DNA has gotten us nowhere thus far. Now, investigators say they have tested a whole bunch of different things, but no DNA has led them to identifying a specific suspect. But let's run back through a couple of sources of the DNA. We'll start with the blood in the entryway going into Nancy Guthrie's home. We've seen this photo all over, and we know that this blood came back. The DNA here tested matches Nancy's DNA, so it's her blood. We saw these droplets early on in the investigation, and we know they were not there when the suspect is seen approaching the door on Nancy's doorbell camera the night of her disappearance. And then we move on, Vinny. You remember this glove. It's a photo from the New York Post. Investigators were spotted picking it up, and they reportedly found, dozens of gloves during this extensive search in this general area. Now, results for at least one of those gloves was tested for DNA. It came back. It was an employee who works at a restaurant across the street from where these gloves were found. So nothing to do with this, a suspect or anything in this case at all. Then we go on. Investigators also said they're testing DNA from inside of Nancy's house. Now, it's unclear what type of DNA, where it was found in the house, how much of it there was, but we do know that the sheriff said that it was a mixed sample, which he also says makes it harder to extract a singular sample to test to connect to one person, a suspect. And then investigators took a good look, Vinny, at this Range Rover here. It was seized from a restaurant parking lot 2 miles away from Nancy's home. And after that happened, we haven't heard much else out of this Range Rover here. They released it back. We haven't heard anything else out of it. And then lastly, Vinny, we know authorities seized a vehicle belonging to Savannah Guthrie's sister, Annie, who lives just about 10 minutes away from Nancy out there in Tucson. The sheriff's department has not said whether they've returned it to her. We know a couple days ago they were talking about it was still being in process of being returned to her. It was still part of the investigation. But they have gone on record to reiterate that the family and their spouses, that's Savannah, that's Annie's husband, Savannah's husband, all of them are cleared, Vinny. But, you know, we got a lot of catch and release here in this investigation so far, but we're still feeling like we're at square one.
Yeah, it really does have that feeling. And that brings us to the next question in our investigation, and it's all about the DNA. Is the DNA a dead end? Joining me, retired police officer and an expert at analyzing crime scenes, Dr. Mike McCutcheon is with us, and retired FBI special agent and professor of practice at the University of New Haven, Kenneth Gray. All right, Dr. Mike McCutcheon, begin with you. The DNA in this case, do you think ultimately it's a dead end?
Well, DNA evidence or any evidence, fingerprints, hair, fibers, footwear, any evidence that you collect is only as good as what you can compare it to. So if they have a valid or a viable source of DNA and they say, yes, we have this DNA, but they don't have anybody to compare it to, then they can say, yes, we have DNA. We collected a fingerprint. We have a footwear impression. But if you don't have a suspect to compare it to. So to say that it's dead, I wouldn't say that, because as technology gets better, other items may be more sensitive to be able to develop DNA. And if they get a suspect that they can compare it to, we've had a couple of suspects in this case. I'm sure they took their DNA, and the DNA that was collected it didn't come back to them. So to say that it's dead, I wouldn't, because it may be in 10 years that they get arrested for some type of crime and their DNA is entered into CODIS, and then we have the ability to match it to them. But right now, it's only as good as what we can match it to.
Yeah. Kenneth, I have been impressed with identifying the DNA on that glove that was found 2.5 miles away. And it was, at first we were told nothing in CODIS came back on that, so they must have gone to genetic genealogy on it and were able to, match it to someone. Turns out it was someone not involved, someone, I guess, who had an alibi, works at a restaurant. It's the glove he uses at work, and must have tossed it out his window. But to me, that's encouraging that they're able to do that. But, nothing else has led to anything with the rest of the DNA that they've accumulated. Do you think it's a dead end here?
Well, Vinny, first, the glove that was found across from the restaurant, we don't know that was solved for who it was that had that glove by genetic genealogy. Instead, it very well could have been fingerprints inside the glove. When you wear a pair of gloves, your fingers are in contact with the inner surface, and it could very well be that it was identified through fingerprints and not genetic genealogy. But nonetheless, I think the doctor mentioned it exactly, is that the unsolved cases DNA are entered into CODIS. There may not be a match at this point, but sometime in the future, somebody may get arrested on a felony charge, and then you get a match. So it's not a dead end, but it's not it's something that's taking us to the person right this moment.
All right, let's talk about the person that we do know about, Dr. Mike McCutcheon, which is the man on the porch and the way he's dressed. Do you think that if he's dressed like this, in this manner, and remains dressed in this manner, that there's any way he could leave any DNA behind?
Sure. I mean, It's tough to say because I know that there's been other people saying, well, he's not wearing a mask, he could be leaving DNA. Well, just me talking, yes, I am putting DNA out there, but we are not at the level now to detect DNA just by me talking. Now, if I'm in some type of struggle and I'm, spitting or I get cut or I leave something like that, but this guy's pretty well covered, again, except for his mouth. But unless he's drinking something or actually spitting or something like that, just him talking and being in there, I don't think is going to leave DNA unless there's some event that would cause him to be cut or to have to be able to deposit DNA, or if he's eating or drinking. I would be very unlikely to think that'd be DNA left behind by him.
Kenneth Gray, what do you think? Could he do everything that was done that night? And again, we haven't been inside the house. We haven't seen pictures inside the house. But just the fact of if he goes inside and somehow gains control of Nancy and takes her and brings her out of the house and abducts her, do you think he remains dressed the way he is? Will he be able to do everything that he would need to do as is? Full mask, full gloves, pants, everything that he's got going on there.
So it's hard to say without knowing the details of where he went to in the house and what he did in the house. But one thing that could have been a source of DNA in there could have been touch DNA. That is, you touch the surface of your clothing rubs up against something, and DNA gets transferred with that contact from the surface of your clothing against something that was touched inside Nancy's home. That being said, anybody that had access to her home, whether it was healthcare workers or whether it was somebody working on the pool or painting the roof, if they went inside the house for some reason, they may have left DNA behind also. So just because DNA was found inside the house by some unknown individual, we don't know that that DNA was connected to her abduction.
Dr. Mike McCutcheon, when you go into a crime scene like this, it's a whole house, right? Like, where do you start where you're like trying to get samples of DNA? How do you even go about that process when you've got such, it's pretty much a sprawling home.
That's a great question. And I get that question almost every time I teach a class because it can be overwhelming for an investigator. And you really have to step back and put yourself in the mind or what you think the perpetrator did and walk yourself through that crime scene and think of where they would walk. You have to put where you think the evidence trail is. Make sure no one's walking in that area for footwear or whatnot. But you have to start putting together what you think happened, and you are very methodically going step by step. I take notes. I have my notepad constantly writing where I think things happened, and you just start going piece by piece. For large crime scenes, it can take a long time, but you just start from that front door and you walk through to where you think the crime happened, and then how you would walk out, and you stop in increments throughout.
All right, our guests are staying with us. Coming up next, are Carlos and Luke cleared by law enforcement?
This is the story of the Richins. Eric, a father of 3, met an untimely end, and Corey, his widow, wrote a children's book on grief.
She's also charged now with his murder.
He was faced with betrayal and terror.
I know her innocence.
Is their story a tragic romance?
Or a twisted tale of greed? The truth will come out.
The Grief Author Murder Trial. Live coverage weekday mornings, 8, 7 Central on Court TV.
We just really don't have enough to say, this is our suspect, this is our guy, we know, or our gal. We just don't know that. And it's really kind of reckless to report that someone is a suspect when they could very well be a victim. It just, I bring to you, to the media, I plead with you to be careful of what it is we put out there, because we don't have anybody here listed as a suspect.
And that's the sheriff addressing some of the chatter early on in all of this. And that was chatter that was aimed towards a family member, which was Annie's husband. A lot of people were talking about it. He's like, listen, not a suspect. And has subsequently come out officially and cleared the family and the spouses, the children, everybody. But there have been a couple of guys who have been detained as persons of interest. Let's get back to Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas. So what do we know about these two persons of interest who were detained, Carlos and Luke?
Yeah, Vinny, so we'll start with Carlos Palazuelos. He was a delivery driver. Now, he was stopped and pulled over in Rio Rico, Arizona, which is more south down towards the border between America and Mexico. He was detained, questioned for hours, and then he was subsequently released. Take a listen to him describing the whole ordeal.
Terrifying. Something I didn't do for something. I was being like, I felt like I was being kidnapped, bro. They didn't tell me anything at the beginning.
And investigators showed up to this house, or were you the one who was pulled over at the traffic stop?
I was the one that was pulled over at the traffic stop.
Where was that?
Right here on by Chubasco.
Okay, and you were taken into custody at that point?
Yeah.
And you were...
I was being detained.
Detained, okay.
I was detained the whole time.
All right, so that's Carlos Palazuelos, and then we have a man named Luke Daly. He was the owner of that Range Rover that was seized and searched at the nearby Culver's that's near Nancy Guthrie's home. Actually, Luke Daly and his mother were detained and questioned for hours. He was also released. But Vinny, this was posted by Arizona family's Brianna Whitney. She posted this video to her social media of Sheriff Nanos addressing both Carlos and Luke, those two persons of interest. Take a listen to this.
We had what we believed to be probable cause to take action against both those individuals and the residence they occupied. That probable cause that we felt was strong was given to the U.S. Attorney, the county attorney, and a magistrate. That court order, that warrant, in both cases was served, and we got what we got from it, and we're moving on.
All right, so we heard him say they got what they got, but again, these two men were released, and we still don't know what exactly it is that police got from them.
Yeah, but he also said they moved on. What does that mean? Cody Thomas, great job tonight, as always. That brings us to the final question in our investigation this hour, and it's about these two men. Are Carlos and Luke cleared by law enforcement? Is that what we're hearing? Is that what we're seeing? Still with me, retired police officer Dr. Mike McCutcheon, retired FBI Special Agent Kenneth Gray. Kenneth, what do you think? Are they cleared? I mean, the way the sheriff said it, we're moving on.
So the fact that they did not have enough information to arrest them at that point does not make them clear. They had probable cause to conduct some searches. Probable cause gives you reason to believe that a crime has been committed and that there is evidence located at a specific location. You have to have an affidavit. I'd love to see the affidavit in both of those cases. That would tell us what they have at that point. But nonetheless, just simply because they did not arrest them at that point, that does not clear them.
Dr. Mike McCutcheon, you know, they've both spoken to the media afterwards. At least one has a lawyer, talked about potential action or bringing in action. What are your thoughts here on these two? I mean, these are the two hottest leads that I think investigators had, but resulted to this point in nothing really.
Yeah, you know, it's tough because those hottest leads, they fizzled out really fast. And whether they're, I'll say, officially cleared, like Kenneth said, I don't think, from my experience, I don't think they gained anything from it for them to be let go. If they had anything, if they had enough probable cause to do the search, they had enough probable cause to detain, or, you know, reasonable suspicion, probable cause to detain them and to question them, for them to get not a hair of more evidence to be able to get probable cause for a warrant for arrest, I kind of think that they probably did have probable cause. I'm not questioning that. Like Kenneth said, I'd like to see the affidavit. But for them to release them so quickly and to not gain any information to be able to develop probable cause for an arrest, I don't want to say they're officially cleared, but in my mind, I have moved on that I don't think that they have anything to do with this case.
Yeah, it was, I mean, it was such a big deal in both cases. Homes were searched as well. It wasn't just a car. The Range Rover was actually seized. They took custody of it. But Kenneth Gray, it has subsequently been returned. As a matter of fact, the Range Rover returned before the vehicle for Nancy's daughter, Annie, has been returned, and they've been publicly cleared.
Yeah. If, just as Mike said, that if they had something as a result of those searches, they would have arrested them. So I do think that they are less likely to be involved in this case. But when I say that, that does not mean that they've been cleared. Nobody is cleared until you arrest somebody else for the crime. I've been involved in cases before where we thought we had the person, thought we had probable cause. We convinced the judge we had probable cause. We got a search warrant, and then it turned out that we were wrong. That happens.
So, I'm wondering, Dr. Mike McCutcheon, would that make investigators less aggressive in the future if, the first 2 times we kind of went after someone turned out to be nothing? Or do you keep the pedal to the metal?
No, I think they still go full steam. I know as a supervisor, you're going to be like, hey, look, we got to make sure we got this right. We got to make sure that everything is proper. They're still going to do that. But if they have a lead, they're going to follow it like a dog on a bone. They're not going to say, well, we don't want to be wrong. You know what? Unfortunately, sometimes you have to be wrong because you're not going to, especially a case where human life is involved, you're not going to say, hey, we better wait. If you have the probable cause and that's your level, if you have probable cause, then you go for it. You're not going to say, well, let's get a little extra, especially when life's in the balance.
All right. Big thanks, Dr. Mike McCutcheon, Kenneth Gray. Appreciate your valuable time. All right. Probable cause in this case sometimes means nothing. I know that because there is seemingly no connection between the 2 subjects who were persons of interest, and the warrants were based on probable cause. Now, even if one of them was connected to the abduction, the other would have been 100% innocent, which tells me law enforcement is scrambling a little bit here. I'm Vinnie Politan. We'll keep digging for answers as the investigation continues.
nobody knows anything. And you know, I listened to Ashley Banfield, and she talks about what it's like inside. So I don't know, just maybe start being very vocal with those around in the media, like Michael Ruiz was there earlier today, and just let, you know, say, hey, man, we're tired of sitting around. You know, we're not getting anything from Nanos. They're not giving any updates. Nobody knows what's going on. So rumors are starting to circulate that are going to hurt people for a long, long time. And, you know, because I saw that story Brian did the other night about that professor up in Idaho that sued.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good example. I mean, so what? I mean, I don't think Tommaso or his band guy, I don't think they had anything to do with it. But that's going to stick with him for a long time. And any reporter or anybody who's out there throwing their names out 24/7 are subject to getting sued. And, you know, that's not fair to them, but that's on Nanos too. That's on him for not providing more information. And I mean, I would call it be just more vocal to everybody around that you're not getting any information, and so you get these wild conspiracy theories that pop up all day long, and it's not right.
So, you think Nanos would even listen?
Probably not to you guys, to anybody, but I don't even know where he is. It's like the man's got into the witness protection program. I don't see anything from him at all. Nobody can get a hold of him.
Well,
I don't think there's
you know,
any...
here's the thing about this situation. There is many people that watch from Tucson. But Tucson, it's like life goes on. And, you know, outside this general perimeter, it doesn't feel like anyone cares. Be honest. Like, you don't see any flyers, billboards, elected officials, or anyone organizing anything. It just feels like no one cares.
You know.
So Nanos might be in a position, he's like, well, the people complaining aren't my constituents.
Right. Well, and then I mentioned also there's a human interest story that I don't know if you'd be interested in pursuing or if somebody there would be. When I saw Savannah and her sister go to the flowers at the house last week, it reminded me of a situation that I was in and
Kind of went.
interrupted.
Yeah, you're there.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's grief interrupted. And my mother, like within, I don't know, 30 days in the U.S., my mother passed away from it. And she was this little bitty grandmother in Edmond, Oklahoma, population, 70,000. And nobody had even heard of it before. Nobody knew what COVID was. It didn't affect people here. And, I mean, my mom got sick and we lost her. And we didn't get to say goodbye. We didn't get to go to the hospital. The world shut down. We couldn't have a funeral. And it happens when people lose somebody through tragedy, say a plane crash. You don't get a body. You don't have a body to bury. Your whole rituals as humans and as Christians is interrupted. We couldn't grieve together as a family. Daughter was in quarantine in Stillwater, Oklahoma. The other one was in quarantine in Norman, Oklahoma. I was in quarantine in Edmond. My dad was in quarantine in West Edmond. And we couldn't come together and grieve as a family, which was so wrong. But we didn't have, the church didn't open back up for another 3.5 months before we could have her memorial service.
Yeah.
So we did that. So, but it's like, Savannah and Annie have lost their mom. How do they grieve? They can't. They don't know if she's alive or not. They don't have a body to bury. They can't go through their rituals as Christians or as humans to go through the grief process. And, that's just a really powerful, event for people. And when you can't have a funeral, that's devastating. So.
No, I hear you, and it is devastating. It is devastating. But we also don't know what the communication between all of them are behind the scenes. Like,
Right.
they I mean, Savannah could be on with attached to the hip with Nanos and support everything he does. And there's maybe some political forces like Mark Kelly assuring Savannah and that they're going to get this solved and don't publicly bash the sheriff under any circumstances. And like putting a lot of pressure on her end.
True. Well, and just something like that, though, like having, the grief interrupted for Savannah and Annie. I mean, that's not putting any pressure on directly on Nanos. That is just what they're going through as a family.
Personally, I think the heat was definitely on Nanos a couple weeks ago, but he found a way. I think I personally think right now he's weathered the storm.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's like I feel like the mountain has subsided. Like what I mean is like the tsunami that was coming in on him receded.
Yes. I mean, I agree.
And it's slowly receding, and it's just like this is going to be just a blip and forgotten soon. I honestly believe that, unless some media outlet or someone uncovers something that restarts the fire again.
Right. I mean, I agree. I'm watching it. I'm watching it from Oklahoma. I watch you guys all, pretty much all day long, and I mean, I see it happening, and it's frustrating because, I mean, and I know there's like so many more people that are looking for loved ones that will never get to say goodbye or to them, and they don't get the attention that Nancy has gotten. But Nancy just reminded me so much of my mother, and that's why I think it's grabbed me. But it breaks my heart that all of this is happening. And she said people outside don't really care. It doesn't bother them. It doesn't affect. Not that it doesn't bother them. It doesn't affect them. It doesn't impact their daily lives.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know how Nana sleeps at night, but it's just so wrong. But I think what really bothered me was that I was listening to, Brian, when he was talking about that story about that professor that sued and, won $5 or $10 million against that social media person. And then, the rumors that it's this person or that person. Well, that all comes down from the sheriff's office, because without information, people are left to speculate. Everyone's just, taking a wild shot and, trying to make sense of what really happened. And, I don't know. I think
Unfortunately, as much as people think you can get remedy, if you go on the internet with an unsolved case and you say, I think this person did it, I think my opinion, I think that really there's no defamation there. It's as sad as it is. Situation with the Idaho thing is, I mean, the woman was flat out saying she did it and kept going and going and going and going and going, even told to stop. But when people are speculating in an unsolved case that someone could be involved, or they think that, I mean, that's freedom of speech.
Right.
It's sad, but it is.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, and I know
particularly when names have already put out there in the mix on this. Now if someone was an actual private person and got dragged out of there by just one person only, by saying this person did it and that person has never been mentioned in any media outlets or not the scope of a case, then there could be an argument. But all of these people that have already been out, their names have been out since the beginning. And the sheriff's raids have put these faces and names out there too. And these people actually came out and give interviews themselves, so it's subject to review and everything like that. So.
Right. I mean, yeah, I know I agree, but I was thinking today, like, how would I feel if I was that person like Tommaso, and I'd been accused, and everyone half the world believed I was the one who did it. And then 5 years later, even though I was proved innocent and the real person was caught, I mean, that's still attached to my life story. And I mean, there's just, You know, not.
Well, you'll be shocked because you know what's going to happen, and there's going to be a small fringe people. But even if the perp is not Tommaso and it's somebody else, people are going to somehow say was connected to Tommaso in some way, no matter if it's even though it's it's just always there's going to be people that say that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. I mean, yeah. And that's the thing. It's like no matter what, because there's going to be a faction of society that they will swear that till the day they die, and they'll always, no matter what. But you can't do anything about that. So I was just, so like some of the far-fetched stories that, some people like actually thought about the mechanics of, doing this, like it was all staged, it was a front and all this stuff. I mean, if somebody actually apps, there's no way it could have been carried because of technology, the truth is and and it's like my mother, there's a lot of pushback on why he let his mother-in-law go in the house by herself. And I'm like, no, they've never tried to help an elderly person who wants to be independent.
Mm-hmm.
And, I would pull up. My mom would, before I even pulled up, she would say, do not get out of the car. And I would look at her and say, okay. And then she would get out and go in. And even before I watched her walk into the house, she would shut the garage door on me. And she didn't want help. She wanted to be independent. And it's a pride thing with elderly people. And, there's just some things until you've been in that situation, you can't understand how that would happen. And it didn't make me a bad daughter for not seeing her go all the way in. But, it drove me crazy because she never locked her doors. And I was always locking her doors up for her, and she never locked her doors. But, that generation, sometimes you can't change them. That's how they operate. That's how they will always operate. And, if they don't want help, you're not going to give it to them because they'll like cut your hand off if you try. I've been there.
Well, I appreciate your time, and thank you for the call. And we'll see if Nanos what he does out of all this.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, thank you for everything you're doing, and I really
Thank you.
appreciate
Take care.
being there. Okay,
Bye-bye. All right. What's going on, Jacob?
Well, just figured we put some batteries in the candles, and then...
You want to put some batteries in the candles?
Put some batteries in all the candles.
Let's put some batteries in the candles. Let's put some batteries in
Oh, it's already done.
Oh, no. Let's go up.
Those candles...
Where's your candle?
Those flowers, man, are dying off.
Yeah, the flowers are dying off.
What do you think? You think I should put another thing up? I think I should bring out another thing of flowers tomorrow?
I mean, yeah, but I mean,
there's
there's a lot out here.
So maybe not.
We sent a dozen roses at the beginning.
Yeah.
Or roses, but dozen yellow.
It's sad, Like, I looked up and down this road, and when I first came out here, we couldn't park within half a mile.
Yeah.
And now there's no one out here.
Where's yours?
My car?
No, your candle.
Oh.
Oh, I see it. I see one right there.
I was writing names on them.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is all these...
And everyone's asking, why don't you do mine? Why don't you do mine?
I hear a bunch of sirens.
You know what? Should we go over there?
What is it?
But, I heard a bang, and then I heard sirens. Maybe a car crash?
Maybe.
Maybe a SWAT raid?
Maybe. SWAT.
I guess I'm just so on edge. Wanting them to bring this case to a close.
We'll put some of the stuff in the bag here.
Whose chair is this? Oh, that's yours? Yeah. I'll go leave it out here. But I'll put that in the
Make sure we...
No, I'm gonna pick up the trash can a little bit.
Okay. Take this water with you too for later.
Yeah.
I'll get some water. I'll just put everything over here.
Yeah, I'll clean it up. How much longer are you out here for?
I don't know, maybe another hour or so. Got things, water there. You want to take the oranges with you, or you want me to?
I'm gonna be honest, I'm not gonna eat them.
Oh.
I don't have enough them, so.
Yeah, I'll eat them.
I resort to drinking orange juice.
I like oranges.
Orange juice it is.
Tornado sirens. Might be what I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I hear a bunch of sirens going on. Sirens. I don't think we're gonna get anything out here tonight. Dr. Q. Oh, Dr. Q. Dr. Q in the house. Dr. Q wants to talk. All right, Dr. Q. Keep the suspense. Dr. Q. Hello, sir.
Hey, Jonathan, good evening.
Good
Good evening
evening.
to you, buddy. Good to hear from you.
Good evening, sir. How are you? I just saw a face. I saw your like
Hanging in there.
I saw your face on the email. So now I have a face to the voice.
Yeah, okay. Or you can look me up, it's just Quentin Schultz.
Quentin Schultz.
E on the end of Schultz. Yeah, I heard from some of your viewers after the last time I was on, and they wanted to buy signed copies of my book because I told you I'd send you a signed copy. So they contacted me and asked if I could sign copies for them, and so I shipped a bunch of books out for them.
A lot of people buy your theory here, Dr. Q.
Yeah. Let me say a few more things in response to some things I saw posted. I don't have the time to watch all day, and there may have been some other things going on that are important. But let me say one thing about whether or not it was an individual or more than one person. If you look closely at the blood spatterings that were on the front steps there, some of those are from aspiration, where it wasn't big droplets of blood, but it was scattered little droplets. And that comes from somebody, typically, let's say they have a nosebleed or something bleeding in their mouth, and they cough, and then the blood sprays out like that. So that's what that was. And what that says to me is that Nancy was probably walking. She certainly wasn't bundled up in some kind of tarp, and carried out. But she had some, and given the fact that she was on blood thinners and all, it probably wouldn't have taken much to create that. So I'm still staying with the one person.
But she would be walked out and the perp would be behind her?
Or next to her.
Next to her?
Just holding her by the arm and saying, let's go out, and pulling her out.
Because, if the blood splatters, if he was behind her, he would put his footprint.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, and it depends somewhat on which side, if I remember right. Those blood splatters were mostly on what would be the left when you were walking out, so the perp may have been on the right. But I'll stay with that. You know what the most interesting thing about this case is? Okay, I say this now again as a communication professor, is the lack of communication about the case from the authorities. I have never seen anything like this. And these individual press interviews that the sheriff there does, they don't really cover anything specific at all. They're one general answer after another with a lot of hee-hawing. So as a result of this, all the people interested in the case, including people like you, other streamers that are out there, people from the various media, local and more distant, don't have anything to go on. And so we're living in this wild world of speculation. And I've thought about that the last couple of days. Why why would they be doing that? I mean, the FBI is notorious for doing that. But even so, if the FBI wants to get some solid tips, they will put out some specific information that, like anything that they have that would identify someone in general, not necessarily someone in specific, but it would help you identify such a person. Anybody in the public, the word goes out, and and the FBI is not doing that. So I think either there is tremendous fog in the legal circles where people are looking around. They don't really have anything solid, or they have something quite solid and they don't want to say anything that would scare off a person who they're monitoring, perhaps even monitoring to see if this person would lead them to Nancy or somebody else. I think it's got to be one of those two. Otherwise, they would be putting out some simple things that would help us, and it's nothing. I mean, I feel badly for you guys sitting out there along the road day after day getting almost nothing. And even the more established media like News Nation, they're not getting much.
They're not getting anything either.
So
none of them are getting anything.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. It's such a strange doggone case. And unfortunately, the crime scene was really destroyed early on.
We listening to JLR's
See,
why they didn't get the dogs out there?
stream.
I just don't know.
They could be watching the perp. They could be tailing the perp right now, waiting to try to match DNA
Appreciate
with the perp by waiting for the
callers
perp to come out,
input.
dump some trash outside.
You're watching.
Or
You
watching
have
the perp to
an
see
input. Feel
if in
free.
fact the perp goes to a location and Nancy
Drop
might
it
be
in the
alive.
chat
But I
room.
really think they have the thought that Nancy's not alive. I would say because
If you're
the reason why I
watching
say that
the
is because at the beginning
replay,
the sheriff was so adamant about her medications.
drop it in the comment
He
section.
hasn't said nothing about that since.
Hit that like button.
Nothing.
Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber.
Would be that she's probably not alive, and the perp would not
Share.
necessarily want her body to be found.
You're welcome. Good things
Not alive, and
that help us out over here.
the kind of terrain out there, and all of the sand and everything else.
One up,
If we're
good
at the
things.
IGG, investigative genetic genealogy stage
Enjoy
where
the
they
stream.
found maybe a family tree of someone, they might be right now interviewing family members through that tree to try to find the perp. Like interviewing family members, and if we're dealing with someone from south of the border that did this, for instance, maybe you think it could be somebody local. That might take a while to try to nail it down to who did it, but it shouldn't take that long once if they got a family tree of anyone in any way that we just don't know. We don't know if any of that DNA came into fruition, like any of it. We don't know if it's all just BS in there, or if the DNA just comes back to just people that been in the house there, that worked there. And I hope that the DNA will nail this, because I don't see how at this point, with the perp gone, how they can nail the perp any other way, particularly at night. Even, with a vehicle maybe, but we don't even know if there's a vehicle. But how else would they get the perp? Unless someone tells. Someone knows the guy.
And if it's one or two people, probably neither of them is going to rat on the other. They're both involved in what becomes beyond abduction murder. But if you think about the DNA situation, that guy, if he was in that house that long, regardless of his clothing, and he was breathing that much and getting close to things that he was breathing on, his DNA would have to be all over that place.
If that was the person that we saw in the Nest camera, if he in fact made entry into the home, you see his mouth open there.
Right. Yeah, even on the front door.
But another
You
thing
would
too,
think there would be some.
Dr. Q, is like we don't even hear from Savannah anymore leaving Instagram videos or nothing. That she went silent on that too. Nobody in that family is speaking anymore.
Right.
It's all quiet. It's almost like they're just. And I said to the last caller, I was just like, maybe they're just told to be quiet and trust the process. It's just like, when you have unsolved cases, when you have unsolved cases like this, usually the victims' families continue to speak.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even get that. So it's just like no one's saying them. It's almost like this event never even happened anymore.
Yeah, I agree with you. I can just say, yeah, man, I agree. And the thing about it is, it's so baffling because you would want to put out some type of clues to help people who are interested in helping.
But here's the thing: is
nothing.
Her own network has the power. NBC, if they really wanted, they could be pressing the sheriff all the time, pushing stories to gaslight the sheriff. I mean, they got the power. The three major media outlets have the power, and NBC has the power, and the victim is NBC, more or less, here with Savannah.
Right.
But they're not doing anything either. NBC was one of the first to pack it up, really, that were out here doing broadcasts. They were one of NBC and ABC was the first ones that said, we're out of here.
When NBC was out there, did they have any network people or just the local affiliate?
They had network. They had their network reporters. Let me think offhand. They had their reporters. They had a whole crew out here on the left side. You have to go back. They had one of their correspondents, and they were doing the reports. Definitely. And they still got an NBC crew around here, but it seems like it's more of a Dateline crew that's around, but they're not doing like round-the-clock coverage. But, man, they have more than the power to create the story and keep it going.
Right. I agree. Very, very mysterious, my friend. It's crazy, and I don't know how much longer you and others are going to be able to stay out there, but the story is going to die off if you don't have any coverage.
Well, I was told the other two remaining networks, they're going to be out of here by the end of the week.
Yeah.
They're
It
gone.
doesn't surprise me. I mean, they're putting money into it, and they're not getting anything for the investment. I understand that.
It's hard to just report on nothing. I and a couple of us fired off public records requests, but that takes time. I got the extension of time. It says 30 days, extension of time of response and stuff. But what can you ask for, really? I just wanted to know, like, how many other reports have ever occurred out of these players and participants' homes, police calls, times and dates of any other activity. That's pretty much the gist of, my opens records request. But what are you going to get out of that? You might not even get anything out of it. There's nothing else it's almost like these networks won't go at the sheriff for his lack of transparency. They won't even challenge it. And it makes
as long as he does a few individual interviews that please those reporters that get those interviews, I think that mitigates some of the criticism.
Because the local media still has to deal with the sheriff. They still have to deal with the sheriff beyond this case. So I feel like the local media, which has the absolute ability to won't do it out of fear of not having access to the sheriff anymore for other future stories.
Right. All right. Well, I just wanted to call in. I don't have any exciting theories, but
we'll stay on it, Dr. Q, and if something big breaks or something, or some sort of big development, or a description of a perp or something like that, would love to get your analysis and continue to have you come on, and we'll review that.
Okay. Good to talk to you, buddy.
You stay safe, Dr. Q. Thanks for calling in.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Dr. Q. It's one of my favorites. Ooh, it's starting to rain. But yeah, I mean, Dr. Q's like saying what we've been saying today. Like, what else is to really report when we can't get anything else? I mean, none of the neighbors know anything. The neighbors been all interviewed and talked to, and but what is left? Hello. Oh. Lightning. Lightning. Breaking news, lightning. We move back. Lightning strikes. Maybe some lightning strikes. Maybe. Whew.
I got an update for you.
What's the update, sir?
The barrel yesterday.
Yes.
Sheriff contacted me this morning.
Oh.
So they're up there right now.
The barrel, they're looking at it?
They just pulled it out of the water. It was a quarter barrel, and it was full of mud. It was nothing.
Seriously, the sheriff got back to you and they looked at it?
Yeah, I called them and I called them today and just did another
Barrel of mud.
It was full of
Did
mud.
they thank you at least?
Yeah, he actually was texting me. He was super cool.
So they just wanted to go see what it was.
Yeah, so I called it in today again. I just said, hey, it's been bothering me. I drove up and we saw this yesterday. And I just want to let you guys know about it. I haven't heard nothing back about the online reports we filed. And he said, okay, well, I'm going up there right now. And asked me to text him pictures and the exact pin drop location with the coordinates. So I sent it to him. And then on the scanner right now, I just heard on the scanner that they were lassoing the barrel. And then they came back on the scanner. They lassoed the barrel, and it was a quarter barrel, like a not as tall as a normal one. And it was full of mud. So they're gonna go ahead and just write it. There was nothing. It was a whole lot of nothing. But he said that we definitely should have called that in. It was suspicious.
Nice.
When I was on the phone with them.
Nice, nice.
But it's nice to know that like it was looked at, turned out to
Yeah.
be nothing, and gave us peace of mind.
Misty Haynes, shout out from the Haynes twins. Thank you, JLR, for what you do. Find Nancy. Misty Haynes. Shout out from the Haynes twins. Misty Haynes, you got twins? The Haynes twins? Starting to rain again. Well, the barrel. A barrel of mud. This thing and whoa, the lightning over there on the right side. What time's the it's on sunset? What time? 6:27. Now the lightning's starting to go away. Lack of information. Anybody else want to chat while we're still on? Michelle says she got a pacemaker.
Hi, if you record your name and reason for calling, I'll see if this person is available.
JLR investigates.
Thanks. Please stay on the line. Hello?
Hello. JLR Investigates. Is this Michelle?
Yes.
Hi. You said you have a pacemaker. You want to talk?
Well, how you doing? Yes, you know, I cannot
You didn't think I was going to call you?
No.
Well, you left your number.
Yeah, well, because I have never known all the misinformation about pacemakers. It is mind-boggling to me, especially when you can just Google it, you know?
Yeah.
Don't you think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, and yesterday y'all were talking about pacemakers, and you were wondering about something, and I said, God, I wish you would call me and I would tell him. But one thing I was going to tell you about, I have a in my living room.
You have a what in your living room?
It's a monitor for my pacemaker, and it's on 24/7. But I asked my cardiologist, I said, do I have to tote that thing to Little Rock when I go see my daughter and my grandkids? He went, oh no. He says, after you're up there and when you get home, it will dump all the information of the past 4 days when you were in Little Rock. It will dump it into that monitor. So they do that. I know they do that. You know, that they dump that. And with a pacemaker, you know what? You don't feel any different at all. It's not, you know, you don't feel any different about having a pacemaker and all this stuff. And I can remember at the beginning of this investigation, it seems like to me someone said, yeah, and if you get out of range of the monitor, you'll die. And I'm like, well, I don't think so.
Interesting.
But do you remember what you were talking about? You wondered, you said, I wish I could ask someone that has a pacemaker.
Well, I think we got everything we got on pacemakers. There's a chopper up here.
Well, I was just saying it was something that we'd seen yesterday when y'all were up in the hills. I've been watching, you know, and you just mentioned it in passing and said, well, we'll have to ask someone. But of course, I have forgotten what it was. But I do want to tell you something, though.
What's that?
I think that Annie and I call her significant other Tom because I mispronounced his name.
Call him Tom?
Yeah. I think that they were behind it. And I think the reason she took an Uber over to their house is that when they were eating dinner or whatever. I can't get much further than that because then why did they take her back to the house and put her in bed? And I'm going, like, that makes no sense whatsoever to me.
Ma'am, I appreciate your time.
Well, I'm glad you called me so I could just talk to you for a second, but I'm still hanging in there with you.
Hang in there. Justice for
Okay.
Nancy. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye-bye. I think we know a lot about the pacemaker stuff. We keep talking about pacemakers. Misty Haynes, shoot me your number if you want to talk, Misty Haynes. Everyone's like, Misty Haynes, call Misty Haynes. Misty Haynes. I don't believe I have your number offhand. So, Misty Haynes, if you want to talk, shoot me your number. And we'll get you in. We'll get you in, Misty Haynes. People are like, Misty Haynes. So, I'll wait.